What's going on, guys? Philip at Trade Genius. All right, this video we're going to talk about whether or not it's a good time to HODL or get into some Bitcoin for long-term hold. So we'll get into that. We'll look at some long-term stuff, just a few charts, pretty quick video today to make a case for that. Again, guys, specials ending today. Coupon code FALL if you want our moneymaker signal software. That's the one we heavily rely on for our intraday trades as well as longer-term stuff. And our specials. And if you guys are listening and you want to get this $5.99 package, I will throw in the cryptocurrency chat room access as well. And that'll get you the moneymaker as well as the courses and stuff. So just for this special that's ending in 12 hours, just note that Phil said it was okay and we'll get you hooked up. All right, let's dive into this video, guys, and look at the long-term stuff. Is it time to HODL or not?
Trade Genius.
All right, first chart up, guys, is what I call my halving chart. Basically, these vertical red lines are the halving, Bitcoin halvings. And so we're approaching the one here in May. And right now, where we're at is historically a period where we see consolidation. And if you notice, this time period before this halving in 2012, we had a period of consolidation. Okay, so we had a nice run up, which we saw this cycle. A little bit of a pullback, consolidation, and then we start into that fourth quarter run up. Now, this wasn't fourth quarter back in 2012 because the halving was actually done on October, but the same principle applies, consolidation and then a run up. Right now, our halving, pre-halving run ups are happening in Q4 because of just the way that the mining hash power has increased, and that's currently the cycle that we're in because it's based on how many blocks have been mined to initiate the halving event. And so faster blocks are mined, the quicker the halvings come. Even though the network is adjusting for those increases in hash power, there's a 2-week lag. So you can get shortened cycles or different months will have the halving. That being said, if we look back at the last halving, again, we come up out of the bear market. Basically, you consolidate, put in a bottom, and then you come out of the bear market. Again, some consolidation. And then actually, this is a September consolidation here. And then you have a run up, and then you get into the halving. Again, a lot of times as you get to the halvings, it can be quiet. You can actually have a pullback in the halving like we saw with the Litecoin halving. And then some consolidation and then a further resumption in the trend, because at that point now you've cut the amount of coins being produced in half. And this next one's going to be big. You're going from 1,800 BTC produced a day to 900. And that's now with, you have huge money now accumulating Bitcoin. That's going to be probably the biggest price jump that we've ever seen. And I think it'll be pretty jaw-dropping when it's all said and done. Okay, so that's another example. And so here we are, come out of this bear market. We've come down. Now we're starting to get into that consolidation that you see back here. Okay, and again, we should come out of that and see a move up out of this. And then as we get toward that halving, nice run up, level off, and then get through the halving and then resume the trend higher. And this is where you see the big price appreciation historically. What's interesting with this cycle, and I think is basically a heads up for what's coming post-halving, is that this bullishness, this distance above this 50 period weekly moving average, which is usually an indication of when the bear markets are over. We haven't seen this much bullishness out of a bear market before. So I think it tells you how much more money is at play here, and people seeking Bitcoin as a store of value, as a gold 2.0 asset. And also, I think people are smarter about these halving cycles, and I think we're going to get this halving priced in sooner than we saw it previously. I think that's also in play as well. Next thing I'm going to point to is the RSI. If you notice the RSI, typically, guys, when we're in this part of the cycle heading toward the halving, RSI, once we break above this center line area of around 55 to 60, we stay above it. And when you see those RSI dips, this is the relative strength index. When you see those dip back into the zone, big time buys, and here we are again doing the same thing historically. So again, this is another area where you're going to see large percentage gains from these levels. And even if it pulls back further from here, goes to 9,000 or even high eights, again, you're going to see 400% or 500% gains from these levels. All right, the next chart we're going to look at is our Fib Multiplier. So basically, you'll notice that Bitcoin tends to respect the Fib Multiplier lines when it gets to market peaks. And what it is basically taking the 50-period weekly moving average and adding Fibonacci multiples on it. So we're looking at this on a daily chart, but this line represents the 50-period weekly moving average. And typically what happens when we get the move out of the bear cycle, we typically will hug one of the fib zones or fib multipliers, in this case blue. So we're typically going to see basically chop around the blue, and then we'll see price meander back up to this kind of this orangey color here, and it will range. And then once you see that breakout past that orange line, that's Fib Multiplier 2. Once you see that Fib Multiplier 2 breakout, you're heading to Fib 3. And so, that's, again, as part of the cycle goes, what we're doing here is par for the course. And again, people, they're probably looking at this price action. We're not moving, we're going sideways, but you have to keep in mind that you have to take into context that this price action and where we are with the halving cycle. So again, anywhere around this blue line, typically that would be your value area at this point in the cycle. Then we're going to look at the long-term regression. Okay, so this is basically taking the regression calculation and drawing, basically what becomes your oversold and overbought levels, and they do a real good job of pinning tops and bottoms. So we've come out of the bottom. Your top currently is looking at around 40, almost 47,000. But again, once you come out of the bear market and you get back above that blue line, typically that's an area you buy those pullbacks. And if you did that on all the other previous cycles where we come out of the bear market and you buy the pullback to it, last halving cycle out of 2012, that was a 1,465% gainer. Back in 2017, the 2016 halving, you basically saw that pullback to the blue line. You were at a 692% gain. And at this point here, if we tag that the orange line, which I think we could probably see higher, but if we tag that orange line, basically you'd be looking at a 426% gain. So again, guys, you won't see as much high gain typically because the dollar values are going higher. But again, big gains. People would kill for 400% returns in any market. And it happens in a relatively short period of time. Here, you pull back, you bought that from July 2017. You basically were in that for 6 months and you saw that gain. So monster, right? So anyway, that's something to keep in mind, where we are in the cycles, how the price movement typically measures out, and the gains to be expected. So yes, this is an area to accumulate, even though we've come up from the bottom. And a lot of people will look at that and say, well, we've come up over, 3x from the bottom, 4x from the bottom, and, it's got to come back down. No, not necessarily. We're in things are moving faster now because of, we've got more players in the market, the halving's coming up. Be smart about how these cycles perform, okay? This is doing exactly what we expect it to do at this point in the cycle, and we expect it to now, as we get closer to that Q4, that next march up, okay? So perspective, guys, but yeah, definitely a place to accumulate Bitcoin, and some extremely nice percentage gains from these levels are to be had. All right, guys, that's it for this video. Please hit like and subscribe, really helps out our channel. I will see you guys on the next video. Take care and have a good weekend.
Trade Genius.